Good morning, guys. Good morning and good afternoon. Happy Monday. I hope you're all having a good one so far. Hope the weekend was kind to you all. You all had a wonderful one. Big thank you to everyone who's joined this morning. We kicked it off in style with Zeropian and Loki. That was a great show. So hopefully Purple Valkyrie can continue. Let's see who's joined this morning. We have got Arwen Avalon. Good morning, love. We've got Pete Ward. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Ren Zero. Hello. Good to see you. Let's see. We've got Nearsighted Cyclops. Hello there. Good to see you. Havoge. Good to see you as well. Let's see who else is here. Dave G. Sound. Good morning. Colin P. Smith. Good afternoon. Good morning to Chris Persia, our Guardian of the North, and the Bash Brother. Good to see you. Project Storytime, good morning. Good to see you. D-Bud Martin, good morning to you as well. Seven Cecil, hello, honey. Good to see you. Firefly MK1, good afternoon to you. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Sit Room, hey, good morning, Sit Room. Good to see you. Dadman Walking 55, always good to see you. Good morning. Let's make sure I've not missed anyone because you guys are going this morning. Wendology, hello, sweetheart. Good afternoon. Good to see you. And let's scroll up and make sure we've got everybody. I think we've got everybody. I think we do. Hope everyone is doing well today. Darren Prowess, good afternoon, rather. Good to see you. And Larry, hello, love. Penelope Pitstop, good morning. Good to see you as well. Hope everyone is having a good one today. So, it's Monday again, and I thought what we would do, just do a little bit of a roundup of the kind of news stories that we've had over the past couple of days, and just kind of ease our way into the new week. Good morning, Mexican Iron Man. Good to see you. Hey, welcome. He says hashtag self-consolation Mexican Iron Man. No, we don't want to cancel Mexican Iron Man. Absolutely. Not gonna happen. So the first story that I was going to talk about today is one that I thought was just so sad. I mean, everybody knows who Nichelle Nichols is, beloved actress. You know, we love her as Uhura from Star Trek: The Original Series. She's also a singer, a voice artist, beautiful, classy lady. Has always been somebody to look up to and respect. Now she is 88, obviously. She is getting a little bit on in years and she's finding it a little bit more difficult. But the story that I'm going to share with you today has really kind of hits hard, you know, how we treat older people, I think. And hello to Phoenix Tangent. Thank you, sweetheart. He's just become a new member. Let me see. He is for Vanga's Chosen. Welcome to you. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. And Psychodorf 9. Good morning. I can't do it as well as Loki does, so I'm not going to try. But let me bring this up and we'll just have a look, see what's going on. So one of the better articles I found about this actually comes from Newsweek, weirdly enough. So Star Trek actresses Nichelle Nichols' son, Carl Johnson, has attracted headlines this week after it was reported that he sold his ailing mother's home. Now, he's done this obviously without her consent. She absolutely loved this home. This was somewhere she loved to be. We'll go further into the article and explains just why this home was so important to her. So, actor Johnson, who's 70, who is the 88-year-old Nichols' only child, has been serving as conservator of person and estate for his mother since January 2019, as she battles dementia, which is really sad. I always think it's a massive tragedy when people, when dementia hits. I know a lot of my grandparents have had dementia before they passed, and it really messes people up. You know, who you think they were, they can sometimes become, you almost don't recognize them once this dementia hits. It goes on to say he has attracted the ire of Nichols's close friends, who have spoken out against his move to sell the star's prized home in Woodland Hills, California, which she has owned since 1982. According to those friends, Johnson acted against his mother's wishes with the sale of a home that she was proud of and helped to build and design. So, who is Carl Johnson? Like his mother and dancer father, Foster Johnson, Johnson also launched a career in the entertainment industry, taking on TV roles and appearing in movies, most notably in 1969 drama The Learning Tree. He's also a slot car enthusiast who was active on the Los Angeles music scene in the 1980s before landing a radio show on KNFT in Silver City, New Mexico, hosting the station's only left of center program. I'd be kind of curious to see what that was like. However, the stint was short lived as the show was pulled from the air after just 2 months, reportedly amid pressure from local advertisers. Interesting. He's now facing controversy of a different kind with Nichols' friend, producer Angelique Fawcett, and former manager Gilbert Bell speaking out against Johnson's handling of the conservatorship. And in a new interview with People, she has been like a mother to me, Fawcett told the publication of Nichols. It's been horrendous. It's painful to watch her go through this experience. And this is a frail lady now, still very beautiful. She is a lovely lady, and I really respect her. I think she is just wonderful, but you can see that she is ailing now, and for her to be going through this at her time of life is just terrible. When the house was sold, I was very hurt for her, she added. She has no place to go back to anymore. It hurt me because I knew it would hurt her. She stated that she wanted to remain in her home, yet the court let her son move her out. Bell, who previously lived on the property in question, told People in a separate interview, her home is gone. It's been sold out from under her. She would be horrified if she knew that. Now, obviously, reading into this, it's clear that she does not know that her home is no longer her home. I hope for her sake that she never finds out, or it really doesn't kind of sink in that the house that she built, the home that she designed, is no longer there. She can no longer go back to it. She was proud of that house. She designed it. She helped build it. She planted the trees on it. It was her dream come true for her, he went on. No matter where we were, when she came back from a convention, she'd always come into her home. She would sing to the house and say, hello, home, I'm home. According to the Los Angeles Times, Nichols' property, which included a main house and guest house, was sold last week for nearly $2.2 million. Johnson stated via email that the proceeds from the sale of the house were placed into his mother's trust, his mother's conservatorship amount to fund her care, per the Los Angeles Times. But bearing in mind, he still has control of this, so he will decide where the assets go. He also told the publication that he's living in a rental house in New Mexico, though he didn't specify where in the state they are residing. We have moved here and we're going to remain here, Johnson said, adding that the home they now live in is smaller, a little more modest than being in Los Angeles, but meeting our needs. Both Bell and Fawcett told People that they have not seen Nichols since 2019, the same year that Johnson became conservator. Bell contends that Johnson had long intended to sell Nichols' home, telling the publication he had told him that he didn't think she should be in her home and that it was a white elephant. He said she had no business being there and that he wanted her in a one-bedroom condo. He added of Johnson he wanted to get the property sold. He's in charge. This is a very special woman, Bell continued of Johnson, and it's a shame that her last years, with all that she has contributed, not only to entertainment, but to NASA and society, that she would continue to be mistreated like this. Fawcett said that you have a relationship with someone. That relationship is always going to remain in your heart and soul. Unfortunately, her son has tried to destroy our relationship. The relationship will always be here, and I will always keep my promise to fight for Michelle. Let me jump back, guys, and see what you were saying. Colin P. Smith says, it depends on the reason and where the proceeds are going. Absolutely. Psychodorf says, I worked in a place what specialised in Alzheimer's and organic brain disorders. It's hard. It is. It really is hard. It's hard to see people that you love, people that you once knew, deteriorate, and it can be incredibly fast. And hello, Ancient One. Good to see you. Welcome. And Vanessa Law, hello, welcome. She said, I took care of my mother-in-law while she suffered from it. It's heartbreaking. It really is. I've seen several family members who have deteriorated over the years from dementia, and it really does hit home. And I feel for anybody who has to deal with this and help in any way that they can. Trinaculus says, when a parent requires 24-hour nursing, it requires liquidation of assets. It's always sad, but the primary thing for comfort of that loved one. I'm suspicious of friends who know better. Indeed. I think there's definitely two sides to this story. I don't think we're getting the full context. I think that perhaps the friends are bitter that it's happened. I hope that her son's actions are genuine and all he wants to do is look after his mom in her final years and make sure that she's comfortable. Chris Posh said, did her son sell her home? Sometimes dementia can be a blessing. Yes, the house is sold. Yeah, it's gone now. She no longer can go back to that home, even if she wanted to. But it's worth remembering with dementia, sometimes objects or places can trigger good memories. So even though the person cannot remember, their day-to-day routine, if they're in a place that they love, then that will have a really strong trigger in the brain and can sometimes bring them back to who they once were. Arwen says, I hope that the money is really going to her care. I do as well. Absolutely. I hope so. And Rough Girl, hello, good to see you, sweetheart. She said, this makes me sad. It makes me sad too. I really love Nichelle Nichols. I think she's a wonderful lady. And I just hope in her final years that she has the comfort that she deserves. Louise says, there's more to this. Water Kronig has tweeted a GoFundMe from her sisters making accusations about the manager. Yeah, I think there's definitely more to this story than we know at the moment, and I think in the next couple of weeks we're going to get more kind of accusations come out, I suppose would be the best way to put it. I don't for 1 minute believe that this is the last of this story that we've heard. Let's see what else we've got to say. So, according to the allegations made in court documents and interviews with Newsweek, Bell was previously accused of embezzling an unknown amount of money from Nichols. So, who is the bad guy in this situation? Is it the son who sold the property, or is it people who seem to be trying to take advantage of an ailing elderly lady? It was also alleged that Bell transferred ownership of Nichols' house to him, removed her from medical care, took possessions from her house, and subjected her to a grueling schedule of sci-fi convention appearances. This part is true. Nichelle Nichols is one of those people that will go to as many fan conventions as she can because she loves meeting people, even when it's a detriment to her health. I just hope that she wasn't forced into doing these things and she did them because she wanted to. Family members claim that Bell intentionally isolated her from family contacts and coerced her into signing a long-term lease that kept him in the guest house for 8 years, paying just $300 a month rent and nothing towards utilities, allegedly draining Nichols' assets and leaving her in debt. Which would explain the sale of the house. While Bell did not speak to Newsweek, his lawyer, William D. Bowden, described the allegations as frivolous and offensive. Newsweek has contacted representatives for Nichols and Carl Johnson for comment. Nichols is best known for her role as Lieutenant Natoya Ohor in Star Trek franchise from the 1960s, where she became one of the first black women to take on a major role in a primetime TV show. She would go on to reprise her role in 6 Star Trek feature films, the last of it which was 1991's Star Trek The Undiscovered Country. So let me jump back and get rid of that, guys. There we go. So what do you think? Do you think 2 sides to the story, or do you think it's just a case of a son doing the best he can for his mother to take care of her? Even though this house meant a huge deal to her, he's doing it because her assets have been drained by somebody else. Arwen says she was so stunning. She still is. She really is. Very beautiful lady. And Renzero says the first interracial kiss on TV, if I also remember correctly. Golgo13, good morning. It says probably somewhere in the middle. I think so too. I think it's a little bit of both. I think, well, I would hope that a son would have his best interest for his mum. Definitely. I think Bell is definitely a suspect character. He's been brought up multiple times in the past for being kind of shady with how he's with his relationship with Nichelle. So absolutely. One rough girl says she is groundbreaking. She really is. Beautiful, beautiful lady, and very classy. She always has been. She's someone that I've not been lucky enough to meet, but I certainly would love to have met her. Project Storytime says, my grandmother was sick. She wanted to die in her home, but she had to be moved. She passed the day before she was to be moved. She got her way in the end. Oh, my condolences, Project Storytime. My grandmother was similar as well. You know, she'd lived in this house pretty much her entire married life. She married my grandfather very, very young. She raised a family in this home. This home meant the world to her. She did not want to leave it to go into an old people's home. And it is sad, like I say, there's so many memories attached to homes. That's why they're so important to people. And good morning, Rogue Disney. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Larry says her crewmates should come together and protect her. I think so too. I mean, people have spoken out about it in the past, but ultimately, obviously, she is no longer of sound mind, so she can't make her own decisions, sadly. So all we can hope for is that the people who are looking after her do genuinely have her best interest at heart. She deserves it after all that she's done for entertainment and, you know, all that she's accomplished. Dadman Walking says, my parents worked hard to keep my grandparents in their house until they passed, but it was worth it to keep them there. Others that never helped were right there to plunder the house after they passed. That's always the way, isn't it? That's always the way. People, come out of the woodwork to claim little bits and pieces, little trinkets, people that weren't there to help in the past. It's very sad to see. Absolutely. Chris Posher said, this all feels like a lot of what happened to Stanley. I was thinking that actually as well, Chris. Both cut off ties with their child, who was spending frivolously, while people who hired to look after them It's a Monday, I can't word today. Similarly, used them for funds, absolutely. What happened with Stanley was terrible as well. Love him or hate him, he did not deserve the treatment he got at the end of his life either. And Golgo says Walter has been very outspoken about it. He has. I think he's definitely someone who genuinely loves Nichelle very, very much, and all he wants is to have her looked after in her twilight years. Absolutely. And Colin says, always inspired by the story who persuaded her not to resign from TOS because of what she represented. Absolutely. Yep. Martin Luther King. convinced her not to step down, that she was vital, and he was absolutely right. And hello, hello, Tranaki, it's good to see you. And Vanessa, you have a good day, sweetheart. Thank you. So it's something that I'll definitely be keeping an eye on, guys, but I hope it's resolved. All I want for her is for her to get the retirement that she deserves, to be comfortable, to be looked after. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we all need? Isn't that what we all hope for? Gogo says, I'm glad he did. TOS would not have been the same, even in the slightest, without her. Absolutely. Well said. And hello, Gun Bunny. Hello, sweetheart. Good to see you. So, definitely something to think about. And I will keep an eye on, and hopefully we'll get a happy ending from this. As sad as it is to see her home be sold, I hope the assets do go to look after her. So guys, a couple more things that I was going to talk about today. This one with Michelle Nichols was the most serious. It's the one that I wanted to kind of talk about first, because it's a person. It's somebody that we look up to. It's somebody that a lot of us respect. But the other two are a little bit more frivolous. So it was touched on this morning, but I'm going to kind of talk about it as well. So this one comes from Screen Rant. So this is about the Dead Space remake being updated to stay relevant for modern audiences. That's always a cringe thing to read. Sorry guys, had to get a drink. So, EA Motive has confirmed that it will be removing and reworking various elements of Dead Space in the remake to make it relevant to new audiences. Yeah, because that's exactly what we need for people that play the original Dead Space. We need it modernized. So, the Dead Space remake will be doing away with some of the older elements that don't align with what a modern gamer may expect, according to the developers of the game. Although the remake of Dead Space is meant to honour, I should have put that in quotations, the legacy of the sci-fi horror title, it will be putting its own spin on things in order to not only appeal to long-time fans, but also to new gamers who expect a lot more from their games than they did in 2018. All people want from their games, especially now, is to be entertained. Gaming, the same as films, the same as TV, the same as books, the same as tabletop gaming. All we want is to have an escape. That's it. We just want to switch off for half an hour, play a game, and not be bombarded with messages or be lectured. So it goes on to say this shouldn't come as much of a surprise, as the team working on the game has noted it will take creative liberties with the story of Dead Space's remake. It will still largely resemble the story told in the original game, but the developer now has a chance to expand on the scope of the game and possibly tee up new threads that could pay off in future games. If this game flops, there won't be any future games. There's still a lot of unknown factors regarding the game, but it seems like it'll be a much more in the vein of the recent Resident Evil remake, rather than a simple update to the game's graphics and controls. Now, the Resident Evil remake kind of split a lot of people. I know a lot of people who were die-hard Resident Evil fans really didn't like the game because it really didn't play like a Resident Evil game. It was very by the numbers horror game. There wasn't really a lot of challenge to it. There's not a lot of scope to explore. It's very linear. And from what I could tell, the boss fights weren't particularly great. It looked good. Apparently, people said. I've seen gameplay of it, but it didn't last. And from what I can tell, there was really no replayability for the game. So once you played it through once, nobody goes back to it. And we've talked about this before in the past, disposable entertainment. And one thing that games really shouldn't be is disposable. You know, the whole idea is that you play the game on one setting, you love the game, and then you go to the next setting and challenge yourself. But people Didn't seem to do that with the Resident Evil remake. Where did I get to? So EA confirmed in a blog post that it will be working to modernize Dead Space. It remains to be seen what specific aspects of the game these updates are referring to, but it's clear that this is being done to enhance the game rather than release something with less content. We'll see. It's also expected that the Dead Space remake will have previously cut content added as part of this reimagining. It seems likely that EA is aiming to expand the world of Dead Space rather than condense it, so only time will tell how important these new story changes really are. Ren Zero says modernize in quotations. Indeed. Pete Ward says the sun's shining. I think I'll go out in the garden and have a few ciders. Cheers. Yeah, the sun is shining. It's nice here today. Absolutely. You have a good one. Phoenix Tangents, hello, love. It says, but Lara Croft was already great. What's next? Lara Croft will be race swapped and LGBT. Uh, Lara Croft has kind of gone out of fashion now. She's not the icon that she once was. But I still love her. I think she's great. She said the next, Crystal Dynamics will make a third Tomb Raider reboot. I didn't hate the reboot of the Tomb Raider games. I thought they were pretty good, but I don't think we need any more. The only Crystal Dynamics / IDOS game that I'd ever want, obviously, is Soul Reaver. I would love to see a remake of Soul Reaver. One rough girl says, I want to escape and lose myself. Totally. Absolutely. That's pretty much all that we all want at the moment, isn't it? We just want that little bit of time just to switch off. It doesn't matter if it's a TV series that you love, if it's a game that you want to immerse yourself in. We just don't want to be lectured. Camper, hello, good to see you. Says go for it. What their sales tank and then blame toxic gamers. Well, that's going to be the go-to, isn't it? No matter what happens, if people don't buy the game, if people don't support the game, that's the risk that they're going to have to take. It's very, very hard to please long-term fans of a franchise and still at the same time appeal to people who have either never played the games before or aren't really gamers. That's the audience that they're going for, people that have never actually delved into these sorts of things. Southern Cecil said the first Dead Space was perfection. All they needed to do was remaster it. Agreed. I've got to admit, I was never the biggest Dead Space fan because I wasn't very good at it, but I can definitely attest to the first one was a fantastic game. Definitely one that I would recommend. And Renzero says, let's be honest, this is just a cash grab. Far cheaper to remaster an old game than to make a new one. Indeed. I have no problem with remastering, but it's the way that they go about remastering a game that is sometimes the issue. Adding new content is fine, but if they just put something like an overlay on, for example, which is what's been done with Diablo, that I'm actually looking forward to because it's still, in essence, the same game. It's just being given a polish. So that one I am really, really still looking forward to. Renzura says also Rockstar / Take-Two are doing the same with their GTA remasters, updating them into modern sensibilities. Yes, whatever that means. They're very vague about these modern sensibilities, aren't they? And that's, I think, why, at least with people that, in our community, that's why it rings alarm bells with us. If they were just more apparent or just told people what it is that they're updating, what they have plans for these games, there wouldn't be so much pushback. But I guess that's that's the hype that they want to build. It gets people talking about it, as we are now. Oh dear, let's see what else you guys are saying. Colin says this is really stupid. The thing is that they're trying to pander to a very small group of people who will probably not be interested in the game anyway. We've seen it before, definitely, and not just games, obviously, but as I said, it's very, very hard to kind of balance appealing to people that have been long-term fans of a franchise, of a game, of something, and then completely try to bring in a brand new audience. That's where the disconnect is. Renzero says games plus not plus mods, no need for remasters, in my opinion. Well, we've got another Skyrim on the way. Speaking of modded games, so do we seriously, guys, do we need another Skyrim? I'd love Skyrim. I think it's a great game. I love the Elder Scrolls games. Elder Scrolls Online, wasn't as great as it could have been, but Skyrim was a fantastic game. It's one that I still delve back into periodically. But do we need another release? I'm gonna have to say no for me. Sitroom says Mass Effect Legendary is the correct way to update a game. Absolutely. Gogo says we could always use more Skyrim. Well, luckily for you, Gogo, we're getting Skyrim until the end of time. Skyrim for absolutely everybody. Larry says Skyrim Anniversary Edition. My Skyrim is modded up the wazoo. Looks like it was made in 2040. Oh, I've got so many mods on my Skyrim. The game periodically crashes. I really need to just take some off, but they're so fun to do. I love it. The Ancient One says they need to do Elder Scrolls 6 at this point. Well, they keep teasing us with it. It's on the way, but yes, they can't keep using the engine that they're using at the moment because it won't handle the game. Golgo 13's got it right. Creation engine is forever. Project Storytime says Skyrim Player Modded Edition. That's pretty much what we have now, to be honest. It's just mods. And I'd love some of the mods that people come up with. I like the cosmetic mods, just to help your character look better. But some of them are just so ridiculous. Southern Cecil says, still waiting for Elder Scrolls 6 and Beyond Skyrim. There is no Beyond Skyrim. And 6 is many years away. Yes, I think it is, unfortunately. Yeah, they'll keep talking about it for years to come, and they'll keep kind of drip feeding little bits of information about the game, but it's going to be a long while before we get this game. Mexican Iron says Unreal SJW 2020 with identity politics shooter pack. McCamper asks, do we really want a new Elder Scrolls game right now? They'll probably pander to modern sensibilities. I see what you did there. I think so. I think the whole point why people love Skyrim so much because it's its own contained game. You don't really have to have played any of the other games to know what was going on, even though Oblivion is a fantastic game. And Deadman said, what's Skyrim? I only started with Fortnite. Oh, Deadman, delve into Skyrim. I think you'll enjoy it. Everybody I know has always loved the game. But it's a rabbit hole, especially with the mods. Project Storytime says that game engine was outdated by the time they did Fallout 4. It is, and you can see it. They desperately need a new game engine to run this, especially with what they had planned. This game is supposed to be the biggest Elder Scrolls game that they've ever made. They had problems with the Elder Scrolls Online with it. So I really don't have any faith in that if they brought out the Elder Scrolls 6, that the engine that they have at the moment will be able to handle the game. We'd have another, basically what happened with Cyberpunk with CD Projekt Red, especially on console, because the games just cannot handle what they need them to do, the engine. The Fixer, hey, good to see you, says, in Oblivion, you can max out your stealth before you leave the sewers at the start. Yes, you can. You can do that with quite a few of the stats, if you're careful, if you know what you're doing. And Arwen says, very true about the mods rabbit hole, definitely. I just like the cosmetic mods. I just like to play with how the characters look and add weird houses that I can use. Oh my god. Let's see what else. Diva, oops, it skipped on me. Sorry, Diva Martin. It says I played Skyrim for almost 2 years and still haven't finished the main storyline. Oh, you'd be surprised how many people haven't done the main storyline. I have finished the main storyline and all of the the extras that they added. But I just love to go in and just kind of ride around and just kind of fight dragons. I just love the game. Ancient One says, whenever I think of Cyberpunk 2077, oops, they should absolutely have delayed that game until at least 2022, if not 2023. They should have done. They never should have released it on the old consoles because they knew that they just were not powerful enough. Apparently, it played brilliantly on PC if you had a high-end PC. And I think it was okay on the PS5 as well, if I remember correctly. But I had it very briefly on PS4, and it was really buggy. It was awful to play. GTA Online, ride a bike to max your stamina while being shot at by 12-year-olds in flying cars. Yes, GTA was another one that kind of went off the deep end with the mods. Pod Racing Palpatine says, who needs to fight dragons when you can be building houses and adopting children? Exactly, Purple Valkyrie. The current gaming consoles wouldn't be powerful enough to run Cyberpunk 2077. They wouldn't, no, as it's been proved. Project Storytime says, I remember in Fallout 4, I was being taken to the Brotherhood base for the first time, and they were talking about how impressive it looked before the assets loaded them. I must be one of those people that when I play Skyrim, I never do the kind of family side. I just go out and kill things. I always like the archery. I thought they did the archery really well. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And Renzero says, "Whoops! How about fighting dragons while adopting children and building houses? Multitasking." Well, I've had it several times where you've been trying to do a really simple task and a dragon just lands on your front lawn. That's always fun. Larry Lara says none of the Cyberpunk 2077 pre-release gameplay was shown with never from a console. No, that should have been, alarm bells from the start as well. But we were so, because CD Projekt Red had such a good track record with their games, we had faith in them. We thought that what they were going to deliver was going to be an amazing game. They've never really kind of steered us wrong up until then. People love the Witcher games. They took something and made it brilliant. Witcher 3 is still a fantastic game, and it's one that I have not finished yet. I'm still trying. But yeah, Cyberpunk, very, very disappointing, and they deserved all the criticism that they got, to be honest. Arwen says, the first time I thought a dragon in Skyrim, I thought I was going to be such a badass. I was charred to dust in about 2 seconds. Yeah, those dragons really pack a punch when you first meet them. Campus said, we were so beguiled from that trailer and their claims. We were. We had a lot of good will towards them. And I think people are very jaded now when it comes to games. And hello, Geek Inside. Good to see you. It says, Purple Valkyrie, the only game I play is W2 Golf, 10 par, move over Tiger Woods, and yes, I'm old school. And hello to Nerdporeal Lifeform. Good to see you. Welcome. I don't play as much as I used to. I used to be a really big gamer. One of the things that I do actually want to get back into with this channel is to do a game stream. So what I'm thinking of actually doing is doing a playthrough on the PS4 with Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a game I love. I think it's one that people will enjoy to watch because it's got a great storyline. Characters are a lot of fun. So I think that might be something to look into, definitely. and it will give me something to do as well. Something new for the channel. So that's what I'm planning to do next. But the other game that I was talking about, and I did mention it this morning, was actually a game called Stray. I came across it a couple of days ago, and because it was so different, it actually caught my attention. Basically, you play as a cat and you wander around this kind of city that's populated by robots, and you're trying to get back to your family. I just thought it was a unique sounding game. It looks great. It's one that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on, and it's due to be released on PS4, I think 2022. So maybe it's something different, something different from the first-person shooters, from the beat 'em ups, from the other games that we've had so far. And Golga says Red Dead Redemption 2. There you go, Purple Valkyrie. Exactly. Project Storytime says my favourite memory of Skyrim is when I fight and kill a dragon, start to absorb its soul, only to be attacked by the guards because I accidentally killed a chicken. Yes, you'd think they'd have more priorities when you're just taking out a dragon, but no, you kill a chicken or, accidentally shoot somebody and you're in for an absolute world of hurt from the guards. Ren Zero says game stream sounds like fun. Thank you. It's definitely something I would like to try, and if I can find a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 that's got a great story that people can follow chapter to chapter as we go through, I think it's something that would be a lot of fun to do. Pod Racing Palpatine said that is a great game. Spent most of my time hunting witnesses. Yeah, gotta take out those witnesses. Arwen says Lord of the Rings. You ought to try Lord of the Rings online if you haven't. It's very lore heavy, but true to the books. I haven't tried the online. I did play the other Lord of the Rings games and really enjoyed them. So something I'll look into. Cool. Rogue Disney said Ghost of Tsushima would be good too. Yes, that is in my to play list as well. I haven't played it yet, but I know lots of people have played that game and absolutely loved it. So I will be playing that, but I'll probably play that in like downtime. Project Storytime says, "Oh hell yes, Red Dead Redemption 2 is great. Need a co-host? Sure, if you would like to be a co-host, that would be a lot of fun. Absolutely." Renzira said you should play something like Final Fantasy XIV online, can form parties with members of the chat. That's something to look into as well, absolutely. And Ancient One says if you wanted to Purple Valkyrie, you could also play some of the old school retro games. I know I keep bringing these back up, but I would actually love to play some of the Legacy of Kain games, for example, would be pretty darn cool. Nerd Pro Real Life Form says there's a very obscure game series about a guy with a mustache who wears a red cap and jumps really high, platform to platform. I think his name is Mario. You know what? I think you might be onto something there, Nerd Pro Real. And Penelope Pitstop says Life is Strange 3 is due out this year. I'm super excited about playing it. All of the Life is Strange games are awesome. They really are. Those are games that kind of really took off and took people by surprise. I think, again, because it was something so different, it captured people's imaginations. That's pretty cool. I didn't realise 3 was due out, though. So I'll look into that one as well. Thank you. So the last thing that I was going to talk about today, I think a lot of you would have seen the trailer. I would guess quite a lot of you would have read the books as well. So we know that Y, The Last Man, has a TV series coming out, and I I don't have high hopes for it. I've got to admit, guys. I think similar to The Stand that came out earlier this year. Excuse me. I think the creators of this show are going to miss the point entirely. So for anybody that isn't familiar with Y, The Last Man, It's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi comic book series. It was by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerrera, and it came out from Vertigo Comics. I think it ran 2002 to 2008, if I remember correctly. And the series centers on a guy called Yorick Brown and his pet capuchin monkey. So basically, what happens on the 17th of July 2002, all living mammals with the Y chromosome, and this includes embryos and sperm, all simultaneously die. And Yorick is the believed to be the sole exception to this, and his monkey. Obviously, they are the last two male mammals left alive. So let me share this, and we'll see what they've got planned. Yes, Pod Racing Poutine ampersand the monkey, indeed. And he says, love the books, but not on board for the show. Same. I've talked about the books as well when we, with MB Geek Jesse, it was one of our non-DC, non-Marvel recommendations. And I still recommend the books. Absolutely. So let me pull up this and we'll go through it. Oh, look at that. Ice cream van going past. Nice. There we go. So this comes from, let me go back up, crb.com. So why The Last Man teaser shows the series doesn't ignore transgender people. Already off the bat, kind of missing the whole point. So the whole idea of why The Last Man it is post-apocalyptic. It shows just how closely tied and how much the men and women depend upon each other. That's the whole idea of the story. So, a new teaser trailer for FX's Why the Last Man finds Yorick on the lam and now affirms the show's commitment to recognising trans identities. FX has revealed a new teaser trailer for its Hulu exclusive adaptation of Brian K. Vaughan's and Pia Guerrera's Vertigo comic. The teaser, dubbed Rumours, centres on the main protagonist, Yorick Brown, who's played by Ben Schetzner, the sole human survivor of a mysterious plague that kills every mammal on Earth with a Y chromosome. Yorick's survival is classified information, and he is placed in the protection of Agent 355, played by Ashley Romans. Nevertheless, rumours of a living cisgender male begin to spread. I really hate that. Cisgender. I hate to see that pop up. What's more, a specific bit of dialogue seems to affirm the adaptation's commitment to recognising and acknowledging transgender and gender non-conforming individuals. So it says, well, let's acknowledge there are men out there. I don't think he was transgender, ma'am. And then it goes on, you're telling me you can verify someone's chromosomes from 10 feet? So, despite Yorick's status as the titular last man, showrunner Eliza Clark previously explained that the adaptation would not be bound by the gender binary. Yorick's maleness is not what sets him apart in this world. It's his Y chromosome that sets him apart. Yeah, just repeat that sentence to yourself, guys, and see if it makes sense. Clark said, gender is diverse and chromosomes are not equal to gender. And so, in our world, in the world of television show, every living mammal with a Y chromosome dies. Tragically, that includes many women, it includes non-binary people, it includes intersex people. An example of a male character other than Yorick who actually survives the plague is Sam Jordan, who is portrayed by transgender actor Elliot Fletcher. In this world, post the event, gender is somewhat irrelevant, Fletcher said. I think one of the hilarious things about this show is that post the event, Yorick can walk around without a mask on because he is assumed to be trans, rather than pre the event, people are assumed to be cisgender. And so I just think it flips the traditional idea of gender completely on its head. And so I was very comfortable joining a project that knew ahead of time and committed to it fully. So just to finish up, It was written by Vaughan, illustrated by Guerrera. Why the Last Man was originally published by DC Comics under its Vertigo. As I said, ran from 2002 to 2008. It's got 60 issues, and it picks up an Eisner Award along the way. It's also been collected into trade and deluxe editions also. The critically acclaimed title follows Yorick and his monkey companion Ampersand as they traverse the post-apocalyptic world they unexpectedly find themselves in. And the show premieres on the 13th of September on Hulu. So let me remove that for a moment. What do you think, guys? Is this something that have they missed the point entirely of this, or do you think that they're doing this on purpose to drum up hype? The Last Hope says, a typical word salad. It's all about their truths. Indeed. For anyone who's read the book, they really do seem to have missed the entire point of why The Last Man. Yorick isn't a great protagonist. He's a bit of a loser, to be honest, and all he wants to do is try and get back to his girlfriend who is in Australia. Project Storytime says the monkey will be more masculine than the dude is. Gun Bunny says, I think it's both. I think so. Arwen says, drum up hype. They're definitely taking liberties, shall we say, with what's going on. Phoenix Tangent says a world without men would be a disaster anyway because men have very high tolerance for doing physically laborious activities in harsh weather conditions. Well, even the first trailer, one of the things that they were trying to fix is all of the nuclear power stations are going offline. This whole idea that it's women can just pick up and run the world once men have gone, it's ridiculous. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Whoops. You guys are on it today. Odysee says, sorry, I was watching Culture 6 minutes. Culture's an awesome guy. It was great to see him yesterday. It was so good to get to chat for him. Chris says, so they're deviating from the intent of the comic in order to push their interpretation. Pretty much, absolutely, yeah. I think for anybody who has read the books, I don't think they're going to really follow the narrative very closely. As I said, very, very similar to what happened with The Stand. I think this is just a really bad idea. And this is something that's been in the works for 10, 15 years, if I remember correctly. They've been talking about, first it was going to be a film, then it was going to be a TV series, and now we have the TV series, but it really hasn't got that much to do with the source material yet again. Larry says, fantasy science. Yes, yeah. Hello, Canadian Spider-Man. Good to see you. Larry said women would know how to run a nuclear power plant like anyone else who was trained and experienced. Indeed, but there isn't enough of them to learn how to do it in such a short space of time. That is the issue. If anyone's read the books, this happens instantaneously. Everything with a Y chromosome begins to hemorrhage and then drops down dead. This isn't something that happens over the course of a few weeks. It happens all at once, and the entire planet just goes into shock. It's the whole idea of what happens when half the population suddenly doesn't exist anymore. And as I said, it's not just humans, it is everything with a Y chromosome. And hello, Dave Bob, good to see you. Phoenix Tangent said, so if the Y chromosome is the target, wouldn't all males of all mammalian species be destroyed? Yes, that is the whole point of it. Everything that has the Y chromosome, as I said, including embryos and including sperm that may be stored, dies. I know on Twitter, back when the first trailer came out, they were saying, oh, well, it'll be fine because, the sperm stored that can be used for artificial insemination. That is also gone. And Golgo13 says time is the enemy. Indeed, it is. For this show, I think it's going to be an absolute disaster, to be honest. I think it's going to be very polarizing. I think it's going to be one of those that people are just going to keep pushing this whole narrative and expect to hear a lot more about the show when it comes out. Phoenix Tangent says the ecosystem would fall apart in less than 6 months. It would. Absolutely. Dadman Walking says, just go ahead and shove me in a freezer like in Demolition Man and spare me the lectures. Larry says, what causes this Y killer? I can tell you, but were you planning on reading the book? Because it's a little bit they never really kind of come out. They give you several explanations why this happened. So everything from it was a virus to it was a statue was removed from a temple, and that's what triggered it. And the fixer says, you realise that if it actually happened, you'd be looking at the end of the human race within 2 generations or 50 years. Yes, absolutely. Colin says, so my first question is what exactly would be exactly what life forms on Earth have XY chromosomes? Isn't that like DNA level? Indeed. Pete Ward says, sounds stunning and brave. I'm going back to my cider. Yes, I think it's going to be one of those I'm going to watch, but I don't know whether I'm going to review it. I certainly wouldn't review every episode, but if they kind of release it all in one go, I might watch it and do like a retrospective, perhaps, just to see how far they deviate from the source material once again. And Chris says, well, there will be some frog and fish species that will survive, but humans will perish. Indeed, yeah, anything mammalian will perish. That's the whole point. Yeah. Now, frogs and amphibians, fish, obviously can change from male to female if needed. Well, some species can, but mammals cannot. And Nearsighted Cyclops says it sounds kind of like the MCU snap. Killed 50% of the population and the much more 50% is going to die. Yeah. That's the whole point of this is it is an apocalypse. You know, it's how do you pick up the pieces once this has happened? And like I said, Yorick really isn't a great kind of protagonist. He's kind of a loser, to be honest. But it's still definitely worth a read. And if anyone hasn't read the books, it's one of those ones that I always recommend. The books themselves are not woke. They don't lecture. It's just a interesting take on the relationships between men and women. So that is my take on it. I think it's going to be a bit of a disaster, to be honest. I think anybody who doesn't like it is going to be lectured yet again. So, hey, we've got that to look forward to, I guess. Yay! But we will find out soon enough because, as I say, it comes out on the 13th of September. So I will be keeping an eye on it, and I will give you my feelings on it when it's released. Larry says, what do the books center on? What person? Yorick. Yorick Brown is the main character in the books. There are other characters that kind of join his journey as they go, but it is Yorick's story. Yorick and his monkey. And Dave Bob says, I don't like it. Lecture away. Indeed. I'm with Dave Bob on that one. You know, at a certain point you just have to kind of switch off and roll your eyes and say, I don't care what you have to say. We don't have to watch it if we don't like it. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. And love you too, Phoenix Tangent. Thank you so much. Guys, I will be back on Wednesday. I know a lot of people are streaming this week. So, guys, if you do come across anyone, give them a like, give them a watch, because we've got a lot of up and coming voices on YouTube, and it's great to see. So, guys, have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and I will see you really soon. I will be back Wednesday, as I say. Take care, guys, and be good to each other. Mwah.